In a world where digital media is, well, everything, creating and maintaining a good image has never been more relevant, both for yourself and your business. Today, it's all about creating your own brand and being your own boss. But how do we do this exactly? Well, today I'm joined by some incredible women who are here to tell us just how. Elevate starts right now.
Elevate, in association with Lift Women, inspiring female founders.
Hello, I'm Jamila Jallo and welcome to Elevate by Lift Women, the show where we get down to business on celebrating and elevating the talents and skills of women who are making a difference. Now, whilst Lift Women are the presenting sponsors of today's discussion, all the views and opinions are of course our own. Now, on today's episode of Elevate, we dive into the importance and benefits of personal branding and do-it-yourself marketing for both startups and major corporations alike. Now, on that note, I'd like to welcome my first guest. Now, starting her career in software development back in her home country of Russia, Maria Markman is hacking through the barriers that are in the way for women in business. Now, with an extensive background working in sales, marketing and IT across a variety of industries, Maria eventually embarked on her own journey as a personal branding consultant for top execs with the launch of Markman Media. Now, Maria joins me in studio today. Maria, thank you so much for joining us on the show. How are you going today?
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Of course, it's such a pleasure to have you. Now, I've heard all about influencers and micro celebrities, using their personality as their own brand, but I've never heard as like top executives and corporate business people. So what is personal branding? Who should be considering it and why?
Personal brand is essentially about your reputation and what others tell about you when you're not in the room. And personal branding as such is a marketing tool for an individual to promote yourself. Whether you work for an organization, then to attract better and bigger opportunities in career. If you run your own business, then to sell your products and services through your individuality and uniqueness.
Absolutely. Now, you've had a major diverse background with your career. Now, how did you find yourself in personal branding?
My journey started about 10 years ago with uplifting my wardrobe, hiring a stylist, and also taking a deep dive into emotional intelligence, public speaking. And then throughout the years, as I progressed in my IT corporate career, I started attracting amazing public speaking opportunities, invitations to join boards, executive committees. And when I started analyzing how I was able to achieve that, it struck me, again, how I manifested myself in the world.
Right, so would you say that's how you established the importance of personal branding? How did you find yourself realizing that this is something that other people need to consider as well?
So over the years, I got clarity into understanding, first of all, who I am and what I like and what I do. And when I didn't have 100% clarity, and at times we don't, I just decided to pursue various opportunities, again, in career, on the board, and that's how it all evolved.
Absolutely. Now, how has it been as a female founder and entrepreneur operating in such male-dominated industries? I mean, you've worked in tech, you've worked in IT and entrepreneurship. How has that been as a female founder?
Look, it's never been easy when I was in corporate, and being from Russia and blonde, I was perceived firstly for my looks and judged by my looks, and I had to constantly break that glass ceiling. And at some point I had enough. But essentially what I believe one of the ingredients of the success is I continuously stepped out of my comfort zone, grew my confidence, grew my resilience, asked myself what else is missing, how else can I support myself, and surrounded myself with various mentors, coaches, sponsors to elevate me.
Absolutely. And on that note, how do you elevate yourself and perhaps other women as a female entrepreneur?
I believe in them, and I learned to believe in myself, that I can do whatever I can think of, I can create it and manifest. A bit of an esoteric word, but it is about that.
Absolutely.
And with women, I share my knowledge and experience. When they ask, again, I learned not to push my opinion, but to be surrounded by women who understand and connect with each other and support each other, that's when the magic happens.
Absolutely. Now, is there anything you'd like to share with your audience, with our audience, on where to find more about what you do?
Well, you can find me on LinkedIn and Instagram, Maria Markman. It's easy, you can Google me and there will be lots of things you will see. I would say connect with me, and if you have any questions, reach out.
Awesome. Well, Maria, thank you so much for joining us today on Elevate. I'm sure we'll see you again very soon.
Thank you, Jamila.
Over to my next guest now, and Jules Brooke from She's the Boss is highlighting female founders by giving them the tools to find the spotlight on their own. With a lifetime of experience in media and marketing, Jules uses her expertise to create a community of femmpreneurs who are able to connect and make a change and elevate each other. Here to tell us how to back yourself by backing those around you is Jules Brooke. Jules, thank you for joining us in studio today. How are you going?
I'm very well, thank you so much for inviting me.
Of course, it's amazing to have you here. Now, tell us all about She's the Boss. I mean, what does it stand for, and how is it helping women elevate themselves and get themselves seen?
Okay, so She's the Boss is all about female founders, and particularly those who are established and have been in business for a while. And I set it up because if you are running your own business, sometimes it can be very lonely. And so one of the things that you look for is a support network. And the reason for that is that Harvard Business Review recently did some research that said that women who have a support network of other women are much more successful than women who are unsupported, I guess.
Right.
So that was part of the reason. In terms of the visibility, I do teach the people within my network, some of them, how to do PR, but I'm always telling themselves to push themselves forward. And actually I've got a She's the Boss Chats podcast and a She's the Boss YouTube channel where I interview them and then share it all over social media to try and make them more visible. Basically, like Beyonce says, to say my name so that people will out there start talking about these amazing women in business.
Absolutely. Now, we're talking all about brands and backing yourself on this episode of Elevate. So I understand that you do PR. So what's the importance of this as a woman and also as a female entrepreneur especially?
I think that firstly, if you want to build your business, then to use PR as one of the tools in your marketing toolkit is really, really powerful, because what PR does is it gives you third-party endorsement, as in the newspaper or somebody else is saying how great you are or how great your business is. It's free if you can do it yourself. As you know, the media doesn't expect people to pay if it's a good story. And it positions you as a real leader in your field. And one of the things that I do through She's the Boss and through Handle Your Own PR is encourage women to make themselves more visible, because there are younger women behind us who need to have role models. And there is a really startling stat that I found out about last year that said that girls 11 to 16 are saying that they can't see women in the roles that they would like to be when they grow up. So I feel that we all have an obligation as women, particularly as business owners, to get ourselves out there. And kind of, I say to the women, get over yourself. It's not really about you pushing your name out there. It's about you inspiring other women around you to maybe go into business or to succeed or get to that C-suite kind of job.
Of course. Now, She's the Boss isn't a PR agency. I mean, you're not doing PR for other people.
No, neither is Handle Your Own PR, actually. I just teach people.
Of course. So how do other people do their own PR if they have no background like you in media and marketing? How do they do it themselves?
That is a really good question. And the best way that I can say it in a short sort of way is that a lot of people are writing articles for newsletters, they're writing articles for LinkedIn, they're writing posts that are quite long. What I would say to them is, why don't you share your expertise that way? But instead of going straight to LinkedIn or straight to one of the other platforms such as your newsletter, why not go take that story and put it out to the media first? Now, the media are always looking for stories, as you know. So the biggest trick for any business owner is to realise this is not an ad. This is not something about how great your business is and what your processes and systems are and how you help people. The idea is that you actually offer advice. You actually offer something that people can act on or use, and you will find that the media are really, really happy to pick up that kind of story. And also, and I can put it straight back to you, Jamila, the media is always looking for new content. They're always looking for people to interview.
That's right.
So there's a lot of business owners out there with imposter syndrome going, no one's going to be interested in me. But the reality is, I mean, I don't know how many interviews you need to do as a TV station each week, but it's a hell of a lot. And the same with radio and the same with newspapers. So don't feel that you are hassling a journalist or an editor if you're sending them and asking them if they'll do a story.
Yeah.
Think that you're doing them a favour.
Yeah.
Because you're actually giving them content that will then really help your business, particularly if you can get 3 or 4, or I would say ideally 20 articles up over a year. When anyone Googles you, they're going to see all this expertise underneath your name, and it really does position you at sort of the top of your tree.
Yeah, it's interesting, very fascinating. Now, I mean, you work in a world of entrepreneurship. It's typically very male dominated. So what has been your biggest challenge that you faced as a female entrepreneur amongst a lot of other female entrepreneurs?
So the biggest challenge, I think, for female founders in general is accessing funding to grow. So there is a hideous stat, you've probably heard it, that only 2% of female founders get access to VC funding. And in fact, I just went to the SBE Awards recently, which is Springboard Enterprises for female founders. They've done some 10-year research with Deloitte that says it's now at 0.7%.
Wow.
So women are not getting access to funding across the board, and it is brilliant to see people like Lift Women and other organisations now that are actually giving women an opportunity to get their hands on some cash so they can grow their business.
Absolutely.
So I think that's probably the biggest challenge.
For sure. Well, Jules, thank you so much for sharing your story and all your tips, and it's so great to have you on the show. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Some incredible women on today's episode of Elevate. Now be sure to check out Lift Women's Female Founder Challenge, where you might have the chance to win $15,000 to jumpstart your own business. That's right, head to the link on your screen to find out more. And I'm Jamila Jello, and we'll see you again soon.